Hey gang, well 411 is now dropped. Actually dropped last night. I had just enough time to do the download and move my ship from Lorville over to Area 18 to observe this monster. But anyway, I thought that I would give the 411 on 411. Okay, so yeah, obviously the biggest news that's dropping today is they dropped the Idris P on us, so expect the verse to be covered in P during this event and probably beyond. I know we have, I believe, 4 or 5 Idrises in the Carnival, and I mean, the Carnival isn't a giant organization. If everybody that ever signed up for the Carnival were to actually drop, and many of them have moved on to other games, we'd have like 30 people. Among our active players, we've got at least 4 Idrises, which Idris takes a crew of, I believe, 35. The math in my head is typically, realistically, you would probably need 5 to 6 people, and you could probably fill out the rest with NPCs and blades when that is in the game, but obviously that is not in the game yet. Still, very cool ship, very cool to see it in the verse. I'm glad they went with sort of this compromise strategy of dropping the Idris P on us, and the Idris, I think it's M, which is the military version that we're going to get in Squadron 42. Let's move on to 411. So 411, obviously, this is the release notes. They're just kind of going into the new locations, weapons, armor core, all of this. You've probably read this yourself. The thing that I wanted to get into was this right here, which is sort of where they go into a little more detail. And I wasn't going to read all of these. I was just going to kind of give my thoughts. New hairstyles, CIG, keep them coming. I still think they could do a few things with sliders, since it's a spline based system. You could do, for example, have a male pattern baldness slider, and then you could have these insane power mullets with a dude, or a dude with a Picard cut or whatever, everything in between. Just with a slider, you'd get thousands of hairstyles for free just with that. But anyway, new locations, so new space points of interest. That's what POI is. Asteroid cluster mining base. Added dozens of new asteroid cluster mining bases around Stanton and Pyro. Used for missions such as the new ship battle V1, we'll get to that in a minute, mission additions, and more. These asteroid bases will have gameplay features such as turrets and gas tanks for use in the various missions, but do not have an interior. They should have put an ellipsis there and ended it with yet. I think these things will definitely have an interior eventually. Additional location updates. Wicklow's Emporium second floor is now open to players with additional set dressing and polish. So the question is this just a continuation of kind of the museum feel, or are we going to actually get new stuff available to us? So that'll be interesting to check out. I will definitely be heading there. Increased restricted zones and armistice around Area 18 in the convention center. Really wish I would have read that before last night, because I was flying into Area 18. Usually what I do is when I'm coming down, I fly past the ArcCorp building to the spaceport, to Riker, and this time as I was coming down, it kind of gave me the warning right as I was going over Area 18, and I was going, there's not a zone here. And so, I mean, I hit the afterburst so I could get through it, and it despawned me with like 8 seconds to go. I guess it thought that I was going to crash into the convention center or something like that. But that is not kidding around. And I got a crime stat and I got trespassing. So I started the night with a crime stat and like a $10,000 penalty. So that was fun. Unattended vehicle quantum travel. So this is something that we've been wanting for a long time. One of the problems we have right now, when I pull Pariah, we're going to mostly be taking out, we don't want to bring down a fully loaded Carrack with all the cargo and all the ships and all of that and land it at a site and then get out of the ship and go explore and stuff, because then you've got this giant Carrack sitting on the ground that's a huge target for anyone who just wants to blow it up. So instead, we can now leave on the Pisces, fly down to a location and leave the Carrack up in space somewhere where it would be much more difficult to find. That is far preferable and very cool that we can do it. This update will allow players who have a ship that is not destroyed or in soft death to be able to get back to their main capital ship in space when using a shuttle to get planet surfaces, or allow them to find their way back to their ship that they lost after dying. And that's going to be real key. Now we kind of know why they dropped this in there. It wasn't for ships like the Carrack, it's for ships like the Idris. Ship battle missions version 1. This content delivery is focused around developing a new set of missions featuring ship combat. Each mission will have improved scenario design, leverage new technology to allow us to improve the narrative flow of missions. The goal is to deliver missions with superior scenario design and a greater level of polish and attention to detail. So patrol missions look very cool. Basically, you fly out and you'll hit like certain points, like say 3 waypoints along the thing, and there will be random events at each one, including nothing, which is cool. So if you ever played the old Wing Commander games, you're very familiar with the patrol missions. Ambush missions, this is something that if you played the old Wing Commander games, you didn't see, and I'm kind of glad. These are very cool things. The addition of new ship battle mission type known as ambush missions. Players must reach a location, head to a spot where their signature will be masked, power down their ship, and wait for the hostiles to arrive. Once their targets arrive, the player must attack and destroy all of them. Ambush missions are offered by Foxwell Enforcement, legal, and the Headhunters, criminal. Foxwell offer legal missions against criminals, which they just said. A mission offered by Headhunters in Stanton will be displayed in the Unverified tab and risk sending players against security forces and civilians, giving them crime stat. They will award an increased amount to offset this risk. So risk reward, to get paid more if you do the illegal one, but you'll get a crime stat, so you'll probably go to Klesher once or twice. One thing that they kind of said in this that's different than they said in Inside Star Citizen is like this: once their target arrives, the player must attack and destroy all of them. They were saying there would be like an initial escort that would pop in at the location, and you'd have to stay quiet for that. But then the caterpillar would show up, and the caterpillar would be your target. You could go and blow up the caterpillar at that point, but you had to stay quiet while the escorts were looking around to see if it was an ambush. Gilly's Advanced Combat Gauntlet mission. So this is the one where I think they were originally saying it's kind of a stepped up one. So single targets, multiple targets, target priority, target stealth, missiles and countermeasures, multi-crew targets, Corvette with escort, capital ship encounter. So there's 8 scenarios to unlock. Obviously that's going in order of difficulty. But they were originally saying that this was just going to be available during Invictus Fleet Week. This is kind of making it sound like it's going to become a regular thing. That's very good. I wish they would make this a scenario in Arena Commander for training new pilots, or training, I mean, for this kind of stuff, you could be a pretty seasoned pilot and not much of a combat pilot and train through this. Hunt the Polaris. Hunt the Polaris is a new server-wide mission in Stanton that will be somewhat random, but regularly occurring mission. This is another one that they said was only going to occur during Invictus Fleet Week. Hopefully that's not true. The reward given is split between all participants who help complete it. A Polaris has been stolen by the Frontier Fighters during Fleet Week. The player must chase it across Stanton, engaging in various encounters along the way. Eventually, it reaches a potential transient wormhole, and there it faces its final stand. This mission is offered by the CDF. Now, what I'm wondering is if we can use this transient wormhole, because that is what the future of exploration will be, is finding those transient wormholes, among other things, but that'll be the primary thing. It used to be that people were thinking that you'd be finding whole new systems, and it's like, it's taken CIG how many years just to make Stanton and now Nyx and probably the other ones. I mean, they're not going to be rolling out a new system every couple weeks. Anyway, mission refactor updates, multiple missions have been added back in the PU. This is PvP bounties, repair missions is good to see, and animal missions, but the repair missions means that engineering might not be too far off, but again, these are the ones where you just take the multi-tool, scrape a ship, and then beam the junk back on there. So you basically just take a load off of a ship and then shoot your load on the ship or on the thing that you're trying to repair. Additional gameplay updates, party member markers now override visible parent icon. Ships and vehicles, Argo Raft, again, they doubled the cargo. Capital ship flight adjustments for the Polaris 890 jump and Reclaimer to give them a greater sense of size and mass. So the Polaris is not going to be as nimble as it was. Ship turret munitions increase, that is not kidding around. Apparently they aren't, or at least the last PTU I checked, it doesn't show up the first time, but if you change the power rating on the weapons, it'll start kicking back up, but it should be roughly double or more in some cases, so turrets just became even more valid, so get those crews together. Ship weapon recoil reactions and audio. We're testing out recoil and updated audio for a few vehicle weapons in this release, which will visually affect the player when firing certain ship weapons. An option to scale the effect of the recoil and to disable them has been added. The following weapons have been equipped with recoil. The RSI Polaris cannon, that's not surprising, that's the one that's the nose cannons, the huge ones. The A&R 12 cannon, which is a size 4. For whatever reason, that doesn't sound familiar. And then, of course, the Panther, which is a size 3, which is the default on a lot of ships. So if that one's got recoil, prepare your butt. Additional ship and vehicle updates, military stealth component rebalance. So the stealth master game, or yeah, that's probably over for now. Disabled proximity assist by default. Swap top Polaris turrets to stagger fire by default. Fine. Improve muzzle effects of all turrets by the Polaris, or used by the Polaris. Increase the max range of the Polaris size 6 turret guns. I wasn't really noticing a problem with the range, but then again, I wasn't trying to attack at extreme distances. I tend to try to attack within the 2K range, which maybe I need to adjust for bigger ships. Polaris turret VFX polish, added on-off toggles for the ship's speed limiter. Okay. Raft thruster retuning after the latest cargo update, I guess because it has to move more mass? I don't know. Anvil Valk greatly increased all-around hull and joint health. Further thrust capacity increases, but with very slight max speed adjustment. Added size 3, size 5, and size 10 bombs to the convention center and center mass at Area 18 New Babbage. We get the Volt SMG, the Quartz, FPS balance passes, the Ripper SMG. They actually increase the damage. So this was that one that looks like a multi-tool. Damage fall off now starts at 22 and scales 0 to 35 meters. So I think they reduced the range but increased the damage, which it's an SMG and basically a beam weapon, so that's not bad. Karna, minimum max spread or minimum spread increased. Okay, that's good. So it's not super accurate anymore. Max spread increased, spread per shot. Yeah, the Karna was kind of the super gun. Gallant adjusted the head cam shake to make the weapon feel smoother to fire. That's good because it's a laser rifle. It should be relatively tame. Although I guess the Karna is a pulse rifle. Who the hell knows? Paramed medical device is now used. This one makes me sad. Is used in the pistol slot. I would use my pistol to pop mines and laser mines and that kind of thing. So I actually did use my pistol a lot. I'd use my rifle for combat, and I'd use my pistol for taking out those things. And I'd always have the paramed and a multi-tool. Can't do that anymore. You got to either have a medical device or a pistol. They're making you choose. On the upside, it does mean that if somebody wants to be a dedicated med person, that's the way to prove it. Synchronized party launch, they're just working on a bunch of things there. So we'll see how that goes. Bug fixes, obviously they've been knocking out a bunch of bugs. And technical updates, a bunch of crashes. Invictus launch week, just kind of want to talk about this. Obviously it's looking, I was thinking that the way they might get around, typically at Invictus launch week, they drop 2 ships. They'll drop a small one and a big one. So I guess technically the Starlancer TAC dropped at SickCon because that's what its concept sale was. It's just we don't have the ship until now. We just had the Max. So technically that one is not on a concept sale, though they'll definitely resell it here. But even if you take that out of the picture, it's sounding like we're at least getting 2 to 3 other ships. We're definitely getting the MTC and the Mirai, Fury, whatever the one with the 4 guns is. And I wanted to say there was one more. Oh yeah, the Asgard. I think I got that right. Asgard. Yes. Which, if you ask me, the MTC, we'll see when it comes out. Its stats. I'll have a thing where I talk about the sales. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about the MTC, but right now it's looking like it is a clear upgrade over the Cyclone and the Cyclone turret. Probably not the Cyclone MT, which is the one with the missiles and the gun. But the other one, I mean, it's enclosed. It certainly looks like it's just as mobile, probably not as fast. But yeah, and the Asgard is probably more useful than the Valkyrie. I really dig the Valkyrie, the way it looks, the way it flies, but I don't think I can think of any time anyone is actually, outside of like an org event or like role playing, someone has actually packed 25 soldiers into that thing and landed them somewhere. It's just way too many eggs in one basket. Maybe when this game, maybe 5 years from now, that'll be a thing where people look back at this video and be like, this dude's an idiot. We have 6 Valkyries filled with 25 people each. But right now in the game, doesn't make sense. Anyway, tomorrow we get Aegis and Greycat. Runs 2 days, and then the next 2 days we get RSI, Origin, and Argo. Again, the ships that they consider military is very loose. Like the Lynx is a luxury touring version of the Ursa, and here it is on combat week. So yeah, there's a lot of that. Like the MPV or MPV cargo and tractor and all of those, they are technically used by the military. Same thing with the SRV. So it's very loose. You can get most of the ships in Invictus Fleet Week, and that's the point. Like you can get the Max. You can sort of see they have the Mist, the Tana, but they don't have the Freelancer Max or any of the other ones. I mean, the Dur or anything like that, but they do have the Miss, which I think is one of the few sales where you can actually get the Miss. Not as useful as it used to be. It used to be kind of a good ship. I actually haven't used my freelancers in a long time. Anyway, sold that one. Then it just goes on Crusader and Tumbril. Tumbrel's always a good day for like those little vehicles, although again I think the MTC is going to make the Cyclone obsolete, mostly obsolete. Then we got Anvil, and then we've got Drake as the last day. A lot of people are thinking there might be something hidden on Drake Day, but then again, people say that every single year. The big thing to note this time is the Herald. They upgraded its missiles, so it has spikes, data spikes, which aren't in the game yet, obviously, and so they put size 1 missiles on there, but I think it only had 2 or 4 of them, but now it's got 2 stacks of 8. So yeah, turn it into a thing. And then they do a wrap up. One thing I was gonna say, and I'll wrap it up with this, is don't buy into FOMO. Like when they drop the MTC on day 1, don't feel like you have to melt everything in your hangar and get it on day 1. Same thing with the TAC, same thing with the Asgard. This last week down here, well, I guess these last 2 days, the 26th and the 27th, they'll have everything for sale. So you can kind of test fly them, look at them. Other people will be spawning them up because they'll be buying them day of. So you'll be able to go on their ships and fly around. I'd say wait until the last day to buy things. Just don't buy into the fear of missing out. Think about it for a couple days. Then again, according to the metrics on my channel, you're all grown-ass adults, and 99% of you are men. So, yeah, just it's your own damn money and you're an adult. Do adult things with it. All right, gang. That's all I got for this one. Catch you next time.